Let's see how it goes, because there's definitely a tree there. Let's hope that it recognizes it. Fuck. Hello beautiful internet family, my name is Dan Davis and I'm the creative director here at DansTube.TV, as well as Australia's #1 ranked drone YouTuber. And today I've got another drone video. This time I'm revisiting the Mavic 3 Waypoints mode. Now this is for the Mavic 3, the Mavic 3 Classic and the Mavic 3 Pro. They've all got the same waypoint offering here and it is an awesome one. There's a bunch of features in there, a bunch of things I really wanted to test but didn't get the chance in my initial test. But in this one we're going to play around with some more like customizable paths, play around with the zooming options as we're going to different waypoints and just kind of see what we can do with it. I want to try to see how it goes flying at a lower altitude, change all the different speed parameters and just see if we can kind of catch it out or whether it can continuously reproduce smooth footage regardless of what I throw at it. So the plan is to plan out all the different waypoints here while I'm at home. We do actually have odd weather today. It's a little overcast, so I thought I'd plan it out and then tomorrow I'd action all the waypoints. So first things first, if you want to start planning waypoints over on your system, if you have a Mavic 3, Mavic 3 Classic or Mavic 3 Pro, when you're on the flight menu here where you can see myself and you can see the record button, off to the far left hand side you'll see the little waypoint icon. When I tap on that you'll see that it will go yellow to bring up that waypoint heads up display. And then the next thing you want to do is open up the map. So we can tap on that once, tap on it again, and then if I zoom out and just kind of move to the location I'm looking for, I can find where I'm going to plan my missions. So it's that simple to do it from the comfort of your own home. And you just got to make sure that you basically follow those steps to bring up the map and have the waypoints enabled. Okay, so I found the spot now, and what the plan is here is, like I said before, I want to kind of see if I can almost trick the system. Like I want to see how much it can handle, all different speeds, all different customized options within the waypoints. So this location here is cool. There's some water, there's a train line, there's an open area here where I can customize some more waypoints and maybe go a little bit lower. So what we're going to start off with is we're just going to go with a nice basic one, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to increase in altitude as I come around this corner. I might actually decrease in altitude. We'll see, that might actually look a little bit better because then we get the horizon, and as we come in we should hopefully get more of the actual boats and the water and everything that's happening. So I'm going to set up one waypoint there and I'm just going to kind of continue on this path along here. Up here you can see it kind of banks around, and then I'm going to go get it to go up to that point there. So that's an 8-minute flight, which might be a little too long I'm feeling, and that's a 5-minute flight there. We might go with that one. So that's 4 waypoints, relatively basic one, but what we're going to do here is we're going to change the altitude to 84.5 for example, and then we're going to kind of bring it down 71. I'm just going to kind of go with some random numbers in here. 64, we might go with that one a bit lower. 40, we might make the 70. 67, just putting random numbers in here, why not? And then the final one will come down to that 32.7. So we've got the 4 waypoints. It goes from 84 to 61 to 41 to 33, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to tap on waypoint 1 because I want it to start recording. So I go to camera action, I go start recording, we'll go to waypoint 4 and then we will stop recording. So we can see it starts recording, goes on its path and then stops recording right at the end there. We're going to make the speed on this one, I think I might speed it up a little bit. So let's kind of play around with something a little faster here just to see what result we're going to get here. So we might go with 20 kilometers, right? So that's relatively fast. I'm going to apply all parameters. So now they're all at 20 kilometers. And once I go back, I can see that now the trip, the waypoint has gone down to 2 minutes. So instead of that 5 minutes, I've basically halved it, got it down to 2 minutes 30. We just got a prompt from the drone, which is nice. So that's a really basic waypoint mission, but I think it'll be a really interesting one. So we'll just set that up as our first one. We're going to tap on the little save icon and we're going to save it. So there's our first mission there. That's a nice basic one that's ready to go. It's honestly so simple to then go back in and customize the waypoints again. So accidentally added a few waypoints here. What we're going to do is in this little open area here, which is relatively close to the little car park that I'll be coming down. So what I might get it to do here is I might get it to fly across the field here. We'll get it to just kind of come along the field and over here. This time though, we're going to make the altitude a little bit lower. So I'm going to make it at 18 meters. I'm going to be away from everyone and I'm just going to kind of keep an eye on it as it's doing its mission. But if I apply to all, it's now all at 18 meters. I'm going to create a point of interest this time. So for a point of interest, that is, as the name suggests, the point of interest. So the interest point that you want to capture. So you can go back to this menu here where you can see the waypoints, and I can click on POI, which is point of interest. So this is where I want to zoom out. What we might do here, so I've set the point of interest, which you can see there in a different color. And now to make everything look at the point of interest, you click back on number 1 and I go to heading. And this is where I can go down in the bottom left, click on point of interest, press yes. You'll see that only one point is looking at the point of interest. To now apply that to all, you tap the icon that says apply to all, and they're all now going to turn and look over at that point of interest. So we're going to make that our next one, all at 18, relatively low. Be interesting to see how it goes in that kind of scenario. Altitude's all good. We'll leave it at the global speed this time, and that will be second waypoint that we're going to action. I've got to set up so it starts recording and then stops recording for the final point. So there we go. So that's our second mission. I can click on that and I can save that, and that one's now ready to go. Okay, so this one's going to be an interesting one. I'm very keen to see how it goes with the zooming options, where I can actually get it to zoom as it's going to each location. So for this one, I'm thinking, who knows, it will even look good, but let's kind of fly along the train line here. So I'll make it so the point 1 is off to the side here, point 2 is here, point 3 is here. We'll just kind of get it to fly alongside the train there. We'll keep it at 50 meters. I think that makes sense. I'm pretty happy with that. We'll make, again, the action to start record at number 1 and stop record at number 4. So it's as simple as that to set up a waypoint. You saw I did it in a fraction of a couple of seconds, right? It's wild how quickly you can do it. We have some control here over the gimbal tilt as well. If you do set it as the point of interest, then the drone automatically will tilt the gimbal to focus in on that point of interest. So it kind of merges those two fields together when you set it as that. But this time we're just going to leave it as follow course, which basically means it's following the course of direction, the way that the drone's actually flying. Now this is where I want to play around with the zooming option. So at 1, we're going to leave it at manual. Well, let's actually go to 1 times zoom at number 1. That would make sense. Number 2, we're going to make it go up to what, like 2 times zoom, I guess. That sounds cool. And number 3, I guess, why not? Let's just have some fun here, right? Let's just go up to 3 times zoom. And then for the final waypoint, we'll keep it at 3 times, just because I feel like it would be quite an abrupt, awkward movement. So let's see if that's saved that. Yep, so it goes from 1 times zoom to 2 times zoom to 3 times zoom. That's going to be a very interesting one to see how that goes. It looks like that's the max that I can do. You've only got the 1 to 3 option, or auto, or then manual. So let's see how that one goes. That's going to be a very interesting one as well. So that one's all set up, ready to go. Let's save that one and move on to the next one. So for this one, I'm curious to see how it goes with obstacle avoidance. So what I'm going to do is, I know there's a bunch of little bushes there, whatever you want to call them. I feel like that's probably the best spot to go. So we'll just zoom in here and I'll just kind of make it fly directly into its course. And what we're going to do is we're going to make it fly very slow, so I have full control to make sure that it avoids whatever it's going to hit into. And hopefully the plan is that the actual obstacle avoidance will avoid the obstacles, or it will at least stop and not continue on the path. So we're going to make the altitude for this one, we're just going to go to like 6.5 meters. So we're going to apply that to all. It's saying 7 meters, 6.5 meters. It's flying directly into that little bushy area there. And on the day, if it's too high, then I can always adjust it on the fly because I've saved this one, or I will save this one. And then we're going to make the speed nice and slow so that I have full control if it does go wrong. So we're going to go 5 kilometers an hour, apply to all. There we go. So 6.5 meters, relatively low, 5 kilometers an hour, relatively slow, and it's flying towards a tree, basically. It's flying towards a bush kind of thing. So yeah, we'll see how this one goes. I can customize it on the day if it's not working out too well. And for this one, what we might do is we might just leave it with the follow course. We won't play around with the zoom or anything like that. And I feel like everything else is fine. It's more so just making sure it records. And then this one is ready to go as well. Okay, so the app crashed on me. I don't know what's going on. Maybe I got too much stuff happening. Let's zoom in, find my location over here near the bush. And we can see as I zoom in, all those waypoints become visible. So I think I'm happy with that. The main thing was just making sure that it records at the start record point and then stop recording for that final waypoint. There we go. So a really basic mission, this one. It's just gonna be following a path and we'll see how it goes with that obstacle avoidance. I'll talk to you very soon when I'm out in the field, but just in the meantime, definitely check out the Mavic 3 combo that I have on the D1 Store's website. And if you're looking for any other accessories or whatever else, items that you might be looking for, go over to the D1 Store and use the code DansTube to save some money over there. And if you are interested as a beginner in becoming more confident as a pilot, then check out the Fearless Drone Academy. It's a course that I've created specifically for beginners to help them overcome their fears and become confident pilots. So I'll see you tomorrow. Well, I'll see you in a few seconds, but we'll come back tomorrow and I'll test these all out and let you know how they all go. So I'm just getting eaten alive by all these bugs around this swampy area. So I've got the drone returning back to me and we're gonna action this final mission. I feel like that one was a success as well. Pretty cool how you can actually zoom during a waypoint mission. So what we're gonna do, cancel the return to home. I'm gonna load up that final mission we've got here, which is perfect because it's actually really close to its starting point. And we're now gonna get it to do its thing, nice and close to point 1. This is the one where it's going to, I believe it's decreasing in altitude. So it's starting at a high point, which is 84 meters by the looks of it. And then it's gonna slowly come down as it turns around the riverbed. But I can see it's slowly decreasing in altitude. It's coming down, it's at 75, 74. Again, nice and natural. We can see the paths that we've taken here so far. We are still flying the drone, everything's fine, which is very surprising, but maybe not. It's a DJI product, nice and sturdy, nice and stable. So here we go, we're gonna come around this bend here. It seems like it's coming around on an angle for the revealing shot, which again is one of those things because we set it up nice and quick. It's just kind of doing its thing. But I am keen to see how it goes around this bend here because this is gonna be a nice revealing shot of the ocean and of the, I guess the river, whatever you want to call it, the open mouth of the river. Nice and smooth as per usual, flying at what, 19 kilometers an hour, nearly 20 kilometers an hour, down to 46 meters in height now, so it's slowly coming down. And the reveal is smooth even though we're going really fast. It's going 20 kilometers an hour. If I did this on a third-party app, it would not be this smooth. So this is impressive. This revealing shot here is working nicely. I can see that it's coming around and it's going to reveal the final part of the waypoint and then it's going to fly straight to that final waypoint, which is the 4th waypoint. We're here now. Let's see how this waypoint mission goes. And I will keep an eye on the drone as it does its course here. So it's actually kind of a cool time to do it because we've got a fair bit of water in this swampy area here. Cloud formation looks pretty interesting. I've got the drone going relatively slow here. I can see it's going 8.8 kilometers an hour, 18 meters high. It's only going from point 1 to point 2 at the moment, but it's looking like a nice smooth shot right now, which will be very cool. Let's see how it goes here. So we can see at the bottom of the display there, we've got some of the information. It's telling us it's a 3-minute, 54-second trip with 39 seconds, 40 seconds into the trip. We're at waypoint 1 of 5, and we are 110 meters out of the 583 meters that the drone will be traveling. So I can see it's doing a good job so far. I saw a bird coming in. I thought I had another nightmare to deal with, but no. Everything is good over here. Nice and smooth. And the thing that's so great about this inbuilt waypoint feature from DJI is that it's the smoothest offering we can get from really any DJI drone, unless you're going to the higher end drones. But this is like one of the top prosumer drones from DJI and it's doing a great job. As we can see, the footage will pop up on the display. You'll see how it's performing, but super smooth. I can see the footage is definitely going to be usable. see see the drone in the distance kind of doing its thing. Everything seems to be going nice and smoothly. Pretty happy with the performance of it so far. And this nice revealing shot will look really cool as we get around to the water over here. So I can see it's going around the corner now, just trying to maintain that line of sight. Seems to be doing a really good job though. I can see it's banking around and then hopefully it will start going up that straight there to give us a nice revealing shot of the water. Yeah, everything looks great. I think I might stop that mission there. And what we're going to do is we'll fly it back, and I really want to see how it goes with this zooming mission that I've got set up. So let's go on to this one here. So the drone's coming in. We're going to start this mission. Got it at 9 kilometers and it's just going to do its thing. Let's open up the map so we can see. Yep, so I've got it alongside the train line here, not flying directly above it, but the course is just focusing on the like course direction basically. That's what the focus point will be. You can see it's just about to get to point 1, and this is where it's going to be really interesting because it goes from the 1 times to the 2 times to the 3 times zoom, and I am extremely keen to see how natural that looks because I know it's pretty hard, like as the user, to input those zoom controls and make it look smooth. So I'm keen to see how it goes. I can see it's at 1.1. Is it slowly zooming in as it's going? Still at 1.1, 1.2. Okay, so it's slowly zooming as it's moving forward. So we could also create like a dyna zoom effect if we did the opposite. So if we had the drone flying backwards, but while it was zooming, the camera was zooming in, it would create a really cool dyna zoom effect there, dynamic zooming effect, or dolly zoom, I think sometimes I refer to it as. I can see we're just under 50 meters in height. Speed is 8.8 kilometers. And the drone's just doing its thing, just slowly zooming into the distance there. I can adjust a few inputs as it's happening, so I can try to look down, but it doesn't seem to be giving me that control actually. So it seems like I'm locked there. If I want to increase the altitude, again, that's locked as well. So for this mission here, everything is locked up. It's just kind of doing its thing. So as we get to point 2 here, this should be the 2 times zoom. And then as it keeps going, we're going to get that 3 times zoom. And so far it looks pretty smooth actually. It looks very natural. Obviously we're not really zooming into anything in particular, but still a very cool effect nonetheless. And the fact that it looks so natural and smooth, again, is one of those things that you might not be able to replicate as the user flying the drone. It's very hard to get those smooth, subtle little movements. You can see that it's incrementally going, you know, 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, and slowly getting to that 3 times zoom, and that gives it that natural effect. So yeah, you can add a few different movements to create a very unique dynamic zooming effect, which is something really cool that I wanted to test with these waypoints. Cool that we can have this on all 3 drones, on the Mavic 3, Mavic 3 Classic, as well as the Mavic 3 Pro as well. So these are the trees here that I'm thinking could be a good one to test this mission out with. So what I'm gonna do, let's just jump straight into it. I'm gonna go next. We're gonna leave it with all of the parameters that it's got set. Gonna launch up to the height that we want. This is terrifying. Let's see how we go. I think, is it going to come down? No, that's the height it's at. Let's see how it goes, because there's definitely a tree there. Let's hope that it recognizes it. Fuck. All right guys, so that was not as successful as I thought. It literally just crashed into the top of the tree. I spent 10-15 minutes trying to recover it. Didn't know if I was actually gonna be able to get the drone back, but anyway, it's back, it's flying. Somehow, everything's fine, no issues. It's not telling me to replace anything. The propellers were fine, so yes, definitely be mindful that you gotta be careful using waypoints if you're flying low. I guess I'm a good example of what not to do. again, another 4-part waypoint mission. You can obviously go full on with this. You can go all out and add a bunch of different waypoints, but this one I'm going from 69 meters down to 40 meters. So it's kind of, as it's decreasing altitude, it's actually pulling the drone back to reveal more of the area that I'm in here. And then it kind of sweeps around to the right side just to reveal all the houses in the distance. So again, another unique, easy waypoint mission to set up. I love the heads-up display here. It's nice and simple, lets me know it's a 1 minute and 8-second mission. We're up to 39 seconds, 40 seconds. It's at waypoint 2 of 4 and 166 meters out of 260 meters. So nice, clean, easy display. I can see it's going 13.8 kilometers an hour. It is adjusting as it's turning, but again, a really smooth, effective waypoint here. Pretty impressed with this one. Nothing too spectacular here, but still the fact that I can capture something like this with just like 30 seconds of planning, if that, and I could have gone, you know, even more detailed with this mission here, but nice and easy and gets the result done. Again, this mission I've gone with the 4 waypoints, but I've really increased the speed here. So it's going at like, what, 37 kilometers an hour. It's probably too fast. You can see when it starts to turn on that bend there, the movement isn't overly smooth, but it is a good example here because, you know, I know when I've tested out third-party applications, they, you know, haven't been too smooth with the bends. I've found that the Mavic 3 series, like, extremely smooth, but I guess that was a good example there. A tight bend with a decent amount of speed, you are gonna get some unusable footage, so you just gotta be aware of that. And again, it's one of those things, just a lot of trial and error to figure out exactly what you're looking for. For this waypoint mission here, what I actually did was I flew to different locations and then added the point as a waypoint. So you can do a few different things, right? You can plan it through the map interface and you can have a bit of control there over exactly where you want it to go to. But with this example here, this allows me to just fly the drone around, set up the framing. If I don't want to have a point of interest, it will just basically choose exactly where the drone's facing, what altitude I'm at, and then when I press that plus button, it will add it as a waypoint. So really, really handy feature, especially if you're out and about on the field and you don't really want to do it before you leave. Maybe you want to explore the area a bit and figure out how you want to frame the shot. I love it that you can just kind of add it and it captures an image there so you can see the different heights and the different framing. And then when you set up the mission, I mean, you know, you can still play around with all the features, you can still move around the different waypoints. You do have control to play around with the zooming option, which is what I did here again. But again, you know, you can just place it down as literally a placeholder and then go back through it and edit everything again, which is really, really cool. So for this one here, I've gone relatively low for waypoint 1, and then I'm slowly increasing up to 29 meters and then kind of decreasing again for the third waypoint to 23 meters. But this one I did the zooming effect just to see how that kind of dolly zoom effect works when I'm going a little bit slower. So I'm going just under 9 kilometers, I'm going 8.5, 8.8 kilometers an hour. And it does create a pretty cool dolly zoom effect. As I'm pulling away, the camera is jumping in, it's cropping in, zooming in. It's obviously digital zoom that it's utilizing here, but still it's relatively usable, especially between the waypoints. I find right at the end of the waypoint when it hits that 2 or that 3 times zoom, it does look a little bit awkward, but the majority of the points in between the waypoint, it seems to look great, right? Some of this is usable, and it's cool that you can play around with that. I did have a look at the 7 times zoom to see if that was an option. I couldn't seem to enable 7 times zoom for some reason. That would be a really cool feature if we could use that separate camera and then also, yeah, change the different zoom points when we are going between waypoints. All right, so this is a continuation after that crash. I can't believe the drone crashed, but it was actually all on me. It was all my fault. What happened was, for some reason, obstacle avoidance was off. I have never turned it off. I always leave it on, especially on the Mavic 3. I've left it on for all the tests I've done. So I have no idea how that happened. Sometimes when a software update comes through, it defaults back to just the default, which might have been off. I have no idea, but it's on me. I should have looked into the settings. Just so you guys know, I didn't get a warning or anything that did, even though it was sensing there was obstacles there, it didn't kind of tell me, oh, you know, obstacle avoidance isn't on. So yeah, you've just got to be really mindful and intentional when you are flying your drone, because these things can happen. But today I'm going to test it out with the brake and the bypass mode on. So in the top right corner, press those 3 dots. It was actually off, the obstacle avoidance. So I'm now going to put it on brake, which means that theoretically when I action this mission, it should brake for us. Now I'm going to put the speed nice and slow and get the drone to fly There we go. So that's literally what should have happened. So it detected an obstacle and it stopped. There we go. That's exactly what should have happened. Let's test out the bypass mode now. We're not gonna put it on nifty, we'll just put it on normal. For this one, I'm gonna get out of the way just to see how it goes. And let's start the mission again. So it's sensing it and it's doing nothing. Okay, well, at least it stopped, right? Let's move back again and try that one more time, maybe with a bit more range. Let's try that one again. So it's flying towards it and then it just stops. Okay, so it doesn't look like it actually does a bypassing mode with this test here, but I thought I'd just quickly come back and update this video because obviously when I initially crashed, I thought that I had the obstacle avoidance on. In hindsight though, when I looked, well, not in hindsight, but you know, when I actually checked out the settings, I realized that I didn't have it on, or the update that I recently did had disabled it. So yes, definitely keep that in mind and check it before you go out and fly your drone, and definitely before you set up waypoints. Be mindful of your environment and what's around you. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I'll chat to you in the next one. Peace.